of directors of the company involved in the repackaging and distribution of expired rice to senior high schools, as well as sanctions against board and management of the National Food Buffer Stock Company.
The NDC caucus also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of the directors of Lamens Investment Africa Limited.
Also coming up, NPP flag bearer Dr. Mohamed Baumia promises to upgrade Efijasi Asokori to municipal status if elected in the upcoming polls.
Nana Ubosono Uka municipality Nyami Adum Enamibeye president. Many are you within the first 100 days will give you your municipality status.
Meanwhile, his main contender, John Dramani Mahama of the NDC, has begun his 5-day tour of the Eastern region. Still ahead, today on the Constituency Watch, we put the spotlight on Ayawaso West Wogon, where incumbent Lydia Seyram Al-Hassan faces a strong competition from the NDC's John Seto Dumelo for the second time.
So much, the videos are there, the evidence is there for all to see.
Campus has always been the deciding factor. But I know that this time around, we are definitely going to win campus. And once we win campus, you know, the rest of Ayawaso West is ours.
And later, for the first time in 20 years, Ghana's Black Stars miss out on an AFCON tournament following their poor run in the qualifiers. All that and more on Citi Prime News, which is live on all affiliates across the country. In the Western region, we are live on Premier FM 100.5 in Takoradi, Beach FM 105.5 and Sky FM 93.5, all in Takoradi. Bono region, G Life FM 95.5 in Sunyain. Ashanti region, we are live on Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. Volta region, this is Global FM 105.1 in Ho and Adanu FM 107.7 in Adakluwaya. Northern region, we are live on Diamond FM 93.7 in Tamale. Upper West, West Link 88.1 in Laura. Upper East, Source FM 100.1 in Boko. And Northeast region, we are live on Scarp FM 101.3 in Nakwanduri.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for staying with us. It's 19 days to the 2024 election. Let's begin the bulletin with some election-related stories. Now, election observers and security analysts have raised concerns over the security situation in Boko ahead of the 2024 general elections, emphasizing the need to enhance security measures in the area to ensure a safe environment for election officials, observers and voters. Speaking to Citi News, the executive director for the Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building, Adib Sani, indicated that the current situation poses a significant challenge, potentially impacting the ability to hold elections safely in Boko.
It is possible that elections could be called off in Bokun. So what we have to do is to work assiduously to improve the security situation in the area. At this point in time, there's no fighting. So let us take advantage of the lull in fighting to engage the stakeholders in the area, the chiefs, the youth groups, because we know the combatants, okay? Let's engage them and find a long-lasting, sustainable, and amicable solution to what is going on. Let us engage the stakeholders on the ground and do better assessments so we'll be able to have the elections. Because this issue is bringing to bear a human rights dimension to what is going on. You know, for people not to vote means we are disenfranchising them. And it is their right to vote. And that would invariably mean they wouldn't have representation and with its attendant ramifications. So we need to work very hard to improve the situation in Bokum.
He further expressed concern about government's apparent lack of commitment to achieving a lasting resolution and called for a collaboration with civil society organizations in these efforts.
Nobody is safe, even members of the security agencies. I am worried because our efforts at Boku, solving the situation there, has been straitjackets. We continue doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. Things don't work that way. You don't expect that always you deploy military and police personnel and impose curfew. You've done nothing. What you've succeeded in doing is to, in the interim, stop the fighting. But tomorrow they would fight again. And that is the status quo. The possibility that they would fight again is quite high. It just needs a little trigger. That is why the participation of CSOs is important. We have a lot of CSOs doing remarkable things in the area because they are with the people. They understand the terrain. The people trust the CSOs more than they trust the politicians. Okay, so if we engage the CSOs, they will be able to do a better job on the ground so the people are able to vote in peace.
He had Executive Director for the Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building, Adib Sani. Now, the new Patriotic Party's flag bearer, Dr. Mohamed Baumia, has promised to give Ifejasi Asokore a municipal status within 100 days of his election. He gave this assurance while addressing the chiefs and people during his tour of the constituency. Dr. Baumia urged constituents to vote for him because he will be more accountable than his contender, John Dramani Mahama.
Mama ne pre ono de wabedi o mampanyin da ho enti oba obetimi edi o mampanyin afie nan pe o na okọ onsa mba ha omba Ifejasi Asokore embebu akonta o okọ anu no onko election bi.
I can contest again if I win the elections, but the same cannot be said for John Dramani Mahama. We plan to build a nursing training college in the Ifejasi Asokore constituency, fix your roads, and upgrade Ifejasi Asokore to a municipality in my first 100 days. I will account for all these promises when I return to campaign for re-election.
Nana ubo sunu uka municipality nyame adom ena mebeye presidenta mini ayu within the first 100 days we'll give you your municipality status.
That was the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Mohamedou Baumia. Let's now head to the Eastern region, where the NDC's John Dramani Mahama has begun his 5-day campaign tour of that particular region. We are joined on the phone lines by our Eastern regional correspondent, Neoni Amate Kanaku, for more. Good afternoon to you, Kanaku. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, has the NDC's flag bearer started his campaign tour of the Eastern region?
Thank you very much, Hawa. So he started his campaign this morning in the Eastern region, specifically in the Sawam Adwajri constituency, where he held a mini rally. And during his address, he indicated that Ghanaians have been given another opportunity to change the ailing fortunes of the country. That is by voting for him, John Dramani Mahama, and the other NDC parliamentary candidates in the Eastern region and the whole country as a whole. According to him, Ghanaians made a mistake in 2016 by voting for the NPP, and again repeated the same mistake in 2020 by voting for the NPP again. But now, with how the economy and other things in the country are moving, it's a clear indication that the NPP has failed Ghanaians. He also indicated that majority of the NPP party faithfuls and supporters are all agreed and are saying they are not going to take part in this particular election. But he admonished them that the only way they can right their wrongs is by voting for him, John Dramani Mahama, and the NDC. Speaking to the residents, he also indicated that the NPP, since the assumption of office, have blamed him for doing so and other wrongs in the country. For 8 years, they continue to blame him, and he says the reason Ghanaians voted for the NPP government is for them to right all the wrongs he may have done in his administration. But for 8 years now, they are still blaming him for doing so and other wrongs in the country. He also indicated that if he's given the opportunity, he's going to create the Women's Bank in Sawama Dredge, is going to expand the amount that is build something similar or a bit similar to what he did in the KGTR, that is the KGTR market. He came there as a mini KGTR market in the Sawama Dredge constituency. He just finished the Sawama Dredge constituency and he's headed for the Ayensuano constituency, where he's expected to also address party faithfuls and other Ghanaians in that constituency.
Grateful for your time, Neil Niamate Kanako is our Eastern Regional Correspondent, bringing us up to speed on the 5-day campaign tour of the Eastern Region by the NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. Let's now listen to his address to the people of Nsawoma Dredge.
In 2016, we made the wrong choice. In 2020, we repeated that choice. But I know that on 7th December 2024, we're going to correct the mistake that we did and bring NDC back into government. And so, on 7th December, something is going to happen here in Nsawama Dredge.
NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. Now, the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency in Accra promises to be an interesting electoral battleground in the upcoming elections. The makeup of the constituency, however, gives a sample view of the inequality levels that exist in Ghana. The gap between the haves and have-not is evident across the constituency. Areas like East Legon, Airport, and parts of Jolu are home to affluent and middle-class residents, while low-income earners are concentrated in areas like Oponglo, Mempasem, and sections of Westland. The constituency also has a number of kiosk communities in areas management of the National Food Buffer Store Company. Details coming up shortly. Please do stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV, telling your story, empowering change.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Let's do more politics now. And the founder of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indium, has admonished MPs to help strengthen and build their own institution and desist from seeking audience from the executive or the judiciary. This comment follows the recent happenings in Parliament. Dr. Papakwesi Indium made this comment when he visited Bimbela constituency to campaign for his parliamentary candidate.
It is important for parliamentarians, the legislature, to be supportive of their own chamber and not to run to executive, not to run to the judiciary to seek solutions. They must find solutions within parliament itself. Otherwise, you weaken it. When people complain that the executive, the president has been borrowing too much, who approves all those loans? It's Parliament. Who approves all the initiatives? It's Parliament. It's always Parliament. But we need parliamentarians to be strong. That's why we in the PPP, we advocate for separation of Parliament from the executive, so that if you are a member of Parliament, they make you a minister, you resign. You resign your seat for someone else to go there, so that you don't serve as both a minister and a parliamentarian. I've done that before, and I know it doesn't work. I've been a minister when I wasn't a member of parliament. I've been a member of parliament when I wasn't a minister. And I've been a minister and a member of parliament. It doesn't work to combine the two important duties. The solution to all of this is not in Supreme Court or the executive, it is in Parliament.
That was the founder and leader of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indium. Now, latest polls conducted by the Global Info Analytics have revealed that former President John Mahama is still maintaining his lead ahead of the 2024 general elections. Speaking to Citi News, the executive director of the Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, noted that voters have prioritized the economy over other critical issues, resulting in the NPP's presidential candidate trailing with 40.5% behind John Mahama, who recorded a 51.9% lead in the polls. Musa Dankwa indicated that about 90% of voters have already made up their mind on who to be president in the much-anticipated elections.
The poll this release is pointing to one direction, that John Mahama is in the lead with a significant lead in. If you look at where we are today in the polls compared to 6 weeks ago, the numbers have barely changed. Just about a point difference between where we were about 6 weeks ago and today. For John Mahama, currently he's backed by 51.9%. Barely no change between this week and last week. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is now on 40.5%. He was on 41.3% before. He has dropped 0.8% roughly. And Cheddar has made a gain of 0.7%, now 4.7%, and Alan 2.1%. Now, if you look at what we are seeing in the poll, it appears a lot of people have made up their mind according to the data. 90% said they've already made up their mind. with only 10% who say they may change their mind or they are neutral about changing their mind. So people are taking up a very firm position as the election draws near.
Musa Dankwa also noted that Dr. Bawumia's consistent presence in the Ashanti region is a testament to the fact that the situation is volatile in the NPP's stronghold.
It tells you that there's a problem in Ashanti region. It tells you that the internal poll doesn't say things are going well. And for you to spend 2 weeks in your stronghold, rather than the swing regions where people can still be persuaded, it tells you the gravity that they have seen the numbers probably from their own internal polling suggestion. Now, every extra day you spend in your stronghold is a day you have lost to spend in Accra, Western, and Central region. These are the swing regions, and we haven't seen him do much yet.
You heard the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. Now, one of our main headline stories, and the minority in Parliament is demanding the arrest and prosecution of directors of Lamens Investment Africa Limited and the sanctioning of the board and management of the National Food Buffer Stock Company for allegedly distributing expired rice to senior high schools. This follows allegations by the Norton Member of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, that both institutions conspired in the distribution of 22,000 bags of expired and repackaged rice to senior high schools. The MP adds that although Lamens Ventures in 2021 was cited by the Auditor General for supplying unwholesome food items to schools, the government failed to take an action against the firm. Here's the Norton MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa addressing journalists.
The NDC caucus also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of the directors of Lamens Investment Africa Limited, Mr. Ajefi Mensah and Simon Ejay, those two directors. And Simon Ejay, at the time of the arrest, was there supervising the operations, director of the company, supervising the illegal operations at the buffer stock storage facility in Kumasi, before the order came from above that he should be released.
Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa is Member of Parliament for Norton. Now, for the first time in 20 years, Ghana's Black Stars will miss out on the African Cup of Nations after a 1-1 draw against Angola in Luanda during their Matchday 5 fixture. The result leaves Ghana at the bottom of Group F, officially ending their hopes of qualifying for the tournament in Morocco next year. The Black Stars are set to face Niger at 4 p.m. at their Crossport Stadium in a dead rubber match with no impact on their qualification status. City Sports' Gabi Ofe has more in this report.
Between 2008 and 2017, the Black Stars of Ghana were a dominant force in African football, consistently reaching the semi-finals or finals of the AFCON tournament, despite falling short of a FIT title, notably at the 2010 AFCON in Angola and the 2015 edition in Equatorial Guinea. The team's performances instilled confidence among Ghanaians that another AFCON trophy was within reach. However, the tide began to turn in 2019. At the AFCON in Egypt, Ghana exited in a round of 16 after a penalty shootout defeat to Tunisia, marking the beginning of a decline. The struggles deepened over the next few years, with the team suffering consecutive group stage eliminations at the 2022 and the 2024 tournament. This downturn reached its lowest point when the Black Stars failed to qualify for next year's AFCON in Morocco, ending a 20-year streak of participation. It has been a challenging week for head coach Otto Addo, who is facing significant criticism after this historic failure.
I have friends, I have mentors, I don't know if you know, but I trained under Matthias Sammer. I was trained under Klopp. I was trained. I was assistant to Edin Terzic, who was the Dortmund head coach, and surely we exchanged. And for me, this is relevant. They say this or that, and they are also critical with some things, and I understand this, but this has much more value if I speak to Jurgen Klopp and he stays with this or that, if I send him maybe some scenes, then somebody from anywhere saying, oh, blah, 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 this is bad.
The Black Stars' struggles have drawn attention from international media, with former Sierra Leonean player Michael Lahoud and Nigel Rio Kuka commenting on Ghana's difficulties. Both believe a thorough overhaul of the team may be necessary to address the issue.
Qualifying for AFCON, Nige, that is incredible. This is a Ghanaian side that they've been on the slide. They've been in just a really bad way. The last 2 AFCONs, they've been one of the worst teams at AFCON.
It's the darkest. First time they haven't qualified since 2004. There has to be a clearing of the house process for me because it's inexcusable. This is Ghana. They produce some of the top talented football players that we've seen. Talk about Michael Essien and right now Kudus. Like, there's so much talent there.
The Black Stars are set to face Niger at 4 p.m. today at the Accra Sports Stadium in their final game of the 2025 AFCON qualifiers. The outcome of the match will have no bearing on the team's standings. Questions remain about whether head coach Otoado will step down ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, which begins in March 2025.
That report was put together by Citi Sports' Gabi Affair. And that's it for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. The Election Bureau. Kindly join the conversation with the hashtags Ghana Polls 2024 and Citi Verify. Please log on to citinewsroom.com for more stories. My name is Hawa Idrisi Mustafa. Do have a great afternoon.
City News. We speak first.